I'm Evan Thomason for This Week in Santa Clarita. Right now, I am joined with Donna Newsy, Emergency Services Supervisor for the City of Santa Clarita. Donna, we're right in the middle of holiday season this year, and I know you as an Emergency Services Supervisor have a lot of tips for residents at home.
Absolutely. You know, one of the first things, Evan, we could start with right in there, our living room, our family room, and that starts with our holiday tree, our Christmas tree. One of the first things you want to do is make sure you put the proper amount of lights and the proper number of lights are connected together, and that outlet is not overloaded with a bunch of wires.
I'm sorry, and also a lot of times people just pull out these things once a year, so it's probably also good to do a double check and make sure everything's safe.
Right, you want to make sure that none of the wires are frayed, that the connector is working fine. Make sure you have fuses and all that. Another thing with your holiday tree is you want to make sure if you have a fresh tree, you want to keep it watered. You don't want that tree to dry out. And another aspect of the tree is where it's placed in a living room or family room or wherever in a bedroom is make sure it's not by a fireplace, because that's another hazard that could be a potential situation.
Right, and it's unfortunate though that every year we seem to see stories on the news about families that unfortunately experience a fire in their home. Christmas tree is a big thing, and the electricity around there. I know a lot of fires also start in kitchens.
Yes, they do. Usually this time a lot more holiday cooking happens, candy making, baking, and all the roasts and things like that. You want to make sure when you're cooking that you stay in that kitchen and don't leave anything unattended, because that's when hazards happen. And that's why we really want to stress the fact of having a fire extinguisher somewhere in your kitchen that you can get to and reach and be able to reach fairly quickly. It's very, very important. And the other thing is making sure all our smoke detectors or smoke alarm smoke detectors are working in our home.
In fire hazards being one of the main causes of problems this time of year, candles are also another big problem.
Yeah, one of the messages out there is candle with care. You really, when you light a candle or candles, you want to make sure that you remain in the room. You do not want to leave a candle unattended. It could fall over, somebody could run by. You just do not want to do that. That is, we've had several tragedies in our valley in our history from unattended candles, so it's very, very important that we do that. And the other aspect too is once you light a candle, make sure you keep any of the devices that light the candle, like matches and lighters, away from children.
Right, and there's another thing at this time of year is people are climbing ladders, and they might not be used to climbing ladders because they're fixing lights to the outsides of their homes. What should they be aware of out there?
Oh yeah, fall hazards, especially putting out outdoor lights. Yeah, you just make sure that you properly use a ladder, that it's opened all the way. Don't go to the top rung of a ladder. Real safe basic things like that are very, very important. One person on a ladder. But even with outdoor lighting, another aspect, the way we are concerned about inside with Christmas tree lighting, Christmas tree decorations and lights, same thing on the outside. We have to be careful of how many light sets are plugged in. Follow the manufacturer directions is very, very important. And then also how many extension cords get plugged in, and then where they're placed too, because we also want to avoid trip hazards in that regard too.
Another thing that comes up this time of year is also there's a spike in home robberies. One
thing you can do is maybe put your gifts in a closet, but that's during this time of the year, people put things under the Christmas tree. So the one best advice is to make sure you keep your drapes drawn, blinds shut, shutters closed, just to try to eliminate that issue.
And also it's probably a good idea for neighbors looking out for neighbors and keeping an eye open maybe a little bit more than you normally would around your own neighborhood.
Right. Also this time of the year you have family and friends staying over, so there might be cars that are not normally in the neighborhood, and this is the time to let your neighbors know that I'm having a visitor, because we're our best source of what goes on in our own neighborhoods and streets. So keeping your eyes out for that and having that inside information, that knowledge is really important in looking out for your neighbors and the welfare of your community.
Okay. Donna, I want to thank you for joining us. If you're looking for more holiday tips, you can go to the City of Santa Clarita's website at santa-clarita.com. For This Week in Santa Clarita, I'm Evan Thomason.